Good morning. Welcome to Reading the Science of Mind in 1 Year. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the Center for Spiritual Living Common Ground in Central Maryland. Today is April 23rd. And so, what we do is we listen to the reading for the day and then we share perspectives. You are welcome to share in the chat, and I will share whatever comes alive in me this morning as the reading is as we do the reading, um, and then we will take that into a time of meditative practice, 5 minutes of simply practicing being present, and then I will close us out with a spiritual mind treatment for the morning. Um, so I invite you to settle in and let's see what the reading offers us today.
A Philosophy, a Faith, a Way of Life by Ernest Holmes. Reading from page 168, paragraph 3, through page 170, paragraph 2, using inclusive language.
The first requisite. The first requisite for the mental and spiritual practitioner is a full sense of the sacredness of their trust, the sacredness of the confidence of their patient, which impels them to pour out their very soul. This confidence a practitioner should keep sacred, inviolate. They should no more betray this trust than would a priest who officiates at the confessional, a lawyer who handles the business and finances of their client, or a physician who cares for the physical well-being of their patients. Practitioners do meet occasionally and discuss cases, as doctors might in a clinic, but they should never mention the names nor the personal affairs of those under treatment. A practitioner's business. It is the practitioner's business to uncover God in every person. God is not sick. God is not poor. God is not unhappy. God is never afraid. God is never confused. God is never out of its place. The premise upon which all mental work is based is perfect God, perfect person, perfect being. First, perfect God, then perfect person. There is a spiritual person who is never sick, who is never poor, unhappy, never confused, nor afraid, who is never caught by negative thought. Browning called this the spark which a person may desecrate but never quite lose. These are the tools of thought with which a practitioner works. Where do they do their work? In their own mind, never anywhere else, always in their own thought. A practitioner never tries to get away from the mind within. We are practicing scientifically when the mind refuses to see the apparent condition and turns to the absolute. A scientific treatment cannot be conditioned upon anything that now exists, upon any experience less than perfection. In treatment, we turn entirely from the relative, entirely away from that which appears to be. We might begin to treat with the statement, with God all things are possible. God can find a way. We might say, they that dwell in the secret place of the Most High, etc. It does not matter so much what one says. It is what one believes when they say it that counts. They must believe, if they are going to be a successful practitioner, that their word is the law of that whereunto it is spoken. We treat the person not as a patient, not as a physical body, not as a diseased condition. Neither do we treat the disease as belonging to them. We must not think of the disease as being connected with them or as any part of them. The practitioner realizes that people are born of spirit and not of matter. They realize this until they see their patient a living embodiment of perfection. A practitioner, then, is one who recognizes the power of mind, definitely, specifically, concretely, and consciously speaks from their objective mind into subjectivity and gives direction to a law, which is the actor. What the practitioner really does is to take their patient, the disease, and everything that appears to be wrong into their own mentality, and here they attempt to dissolve all false appearances and all erroneous conclusions. At the center of the practitioner's own being, the healing work must be accomplished. The more completely the practitioner is convinced of the power of their own word, the more power their word will have. There must be a recognition that the power of the word, operating as the truth and reality of being, can do all things. Therefore, the person whose consciousness is the clearest, who has the most complete faith, will be the best healer.
All right. So there's a lot there. And if we had time and a different platform, I could actually engage in an unraveling discussion about this for days, perhaps. And again, it's words are exactly that. And I think one of the most important things um, from this reading for us to take away is it does not matter so much what one says, it is what one believes when they say it that matters. Um, Words are tricky, and it reminds me of um, the teachings of Don Miguel Ruiz in the introduction and the first chapter of the Four Agreements, where he speaks eloquently and clearly about how language is our programming code. Um, it's just like any computer language, right? That programs the operating system to function in a certain way. Our language is the programming system for humanity, and it teaches us to function in a certain way. The challenge is that because we are culturally diverse, because we are in diverse places, we are linguistically diverse because of those things. It means we have different understandings, right? It's not a negative. It demands, though, that we take responsibility for what we mean. Uh, because if we're just using the words without exploring the meaning of the words to ourselves, uh, then we inadvertently reinforce the very things we're trying to change. So, as a practitioner, as a minister, um, and anyone who practices metaphysics, anyone who practices science of mind is a practitioner. Let's get clear about that. So, you don't have to have a license to be a practitioner of science of mind. You just have to have a license to use it in a certain way as a business. So, um, but to understand that we're each using words differently and to take responsibility to use words that bring forth the understanding of the complete and perfect wholeness. Now, those words might be different for everybody, and that's okay. Um, to bring forth words that align within ourselves, the one doing the treatment, that alignment. Um, remembering the Bible verse at the moment. For for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, which for years, right, was used to beat me up in the fundamental Christianity I was raised in. But a deeper study of that actually makes it a gift, right? When I studied the linguistics of that verse, when I studied the history, excuse me, of those words, for all have sinned. Everybody's made mistakes. That's all that phrase means. And fall short of the glory of God. In context, that phrase, the glory of God, in the original Greek, actually refers to that moment of perfect alignment between that perfect alignment within humanity when our human awareness aligns with our divinity. So I can get next to that, you know, that I've made mistakes, that I have missed the mark. And when I align my awareness with the truth of my being, it's amazing. Because it is. And so knowing what our words mean to us creates in us that alignment. And so when you're doing your prayer work, when you're doing your treatment work, use words that are clear to you. And the whole thing that he starts with about, God is not sick, God is not poor, God is not unhappy. Those are denials that Ernest Holmes taught to help us break free from the conditioning. He talks about turning away from condition, not denying it. We don't act like it's not happening. We just speak clarity about it. Right? It's perfectly normal, and I personally think necessary to own I'm upset, I'm sad, I'm angry, whatever it is that I am. And in this moment, I am remembering, I am reawakening everything within me to remember that this is not the truth of my being, that there is no anger in me spiritually, that the spirit of me can never be angry, because it helps me remember that this is part of the generational conditioning of humanity, right? That the spirit within me cannot be harmed, has never been harmed. It doesn't mean I haven't experienced harm in the physical realm. They're two very different things. And so being clear about that in speaking those denials to remind my thinker, the thinker within me, that subconscious mind where unexamined garbage lives, to shake that garbage loose, to take out the trash, if you will, and replace it with what is spiritually accurate. That, beloveds, is my experience of spiritual mind healing. It really is as simple as taking out the trash, putting in a new bag, and filling that bag with preciousness, with gifts of divinity, with truth that I want to keep. So that is what's alive in me. You probably are hearing the airplane go by. I do live in the flight path of BWI, and it's a beautiful morning, so the window's open. So I'm going to turn off my microphone now and take us into our 5-minute meditation practice. And it really is a time to just practice. Don't try to make anything happen. Don't try to make anything not happen. Here we go. One. One power, everywhere present. One substance that is the very substance of creation. One breath breathing all of life, one life living itself in the multiplicity of expression. Beyond being diverse, creation is diversity. Beyond all of the adjectives, it is the nouns. It is the verb. It is the noun as verb. It is omnipresence. It is omnipotence. It is omniscience. It is love. Infinite intelligence. It is infinite possibility, continuously, without interruption, expanding itself through the thought, through the imagination of itself, bringing infinite possibility from idea to action to form to experience. This is what this one substance, the source of all, is and does. It is known by many, many names, and yet it is nameless because it cannot be limited by a single idea, a single perception of it. And so it is every name and no name and more names. In this moment, I recognize it as creation. All of creation. And I recognize that I am made out of it, by it, to express it, to be it. That is all that I have ever been and all that I can ever be. That the very substance of creation is the substance that created and expresses as me. That within me is the creative process, a microcosm of the macro, an individualized center of creative operation, expression within the whole. And so the infinite imagination within me desires to express. The law within me, the doer within creation, acts upon those imaginations and makes them so in form in this human realm, in the activity of what I call my life. And what is true of me is true of every expression of creation. It is true of all. And so I claim and affirm that there is no anxiety in creation. There is no hate in creation. There is no war in creation. That these are the behaviors and actions of confusion. that these are choices made from the lie of separation, the denial of the self. And so I claim and affirm that each and every expression of creation is awakening to the truth of one, the inseparable connection of one, awakening to the reality that to hurt one is to hurt the self, to hurt all, because there is no separation. To a recognition that love is all there is. So, this very idea, this false premise, this condition of limitation that we call hate, is replaced by the understanding, the recognition, the totality of being as pure love. And that the very idea of harming another is eliminated through this awareness of one. That it ceases to even be an option. And in its place, the harmonious operation of one, made real, made the experience in this physical realm. That there is a renewed understanding that all means all, and that's all it means. And within all, there can be no separation. That all is that bridge from our thinking in separation to our experience of one. That all is the bridge that walks us home to the truth of being, where one expresses in multiplicity and is never separate from itself in any way, where all mistakes are sloughed off and the glory of creation, the alignment of consciousness with itself, is the hallelujah, is the celebration, is the activity, is the manifestation of a new Garden of Eden, a new experience of perfection. And I claim it now. And I am grateful. I am grateful for that doer within the creative process that simply acts upon what is spoken into it. That sees no good and bad, no right and wrong. That simply acts to make it so. It is not subject to the delays of time and makes it so immediately. And so I know that the word spoken this morning is the word fulfilled, that it's already completed, that it's already done. So I can let go, knowing that it is complete, having that confidence within that says, yes, it is done, allows me to release every thought of hesitation, every doubt, every wondering, and to stand firmly in the truth of yes, yes, yes. To move into this day in a state of expectancy that can see only the harmonious operation of one, that can experience only the harmonious operation of one. So I step into that, the full manifestation and experience of the glory of God. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.